Ruthie here, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're talking all about pumping. Yes, that thing that you moms loathe have to do it at some point or another, so I wanted to share my tips, my tricks, my hacks with you all to make it just a little bit easier. Let's just chat about why you would need to pump. Some women might use it in the beginning to boost their supply. Some women might do it to alleviate engorgement because they are actually oversupplied. Some people might do it whenever they are leaving their baby. Maybe they have to go to work, maybe they're traveling, maybe they want to give dad the opportunity to feed the baby. There are various types of pumps out there. There's a hospital grade pump that you may use at the hospital. You can rent these, but I think most people opt for like an electric pump. Manual pumps that you can use. There is now pumps that go into your bra like the Willow or the LV. I don't have experience with those. Really popular now is the HAVES. Most people will probably get an electric pump. I have the Spectra S1 here. The Spectra S2 is pink. The main differences are the Spectra S1 is battery operated. That is huge. I would definitely go for the Spectra S1 for the battery capability, being able to be mobile throughout the house. This also has the nightlight, which I think maybe the Spectra S2 might not. Now, I also have had the Medela pump. That one is not battery operated. I ended up getting a little pack for it to make it battery operated, and I would just change out the batteries every day. So I'll link that below if you do have the Medela. Personally, I like the Spectra much better than the Medela. If you're interested to know why, let me know and I'll make a video. Also, most insurances do cover a breast pump for every single pregnancy. I'll link down below. Aeroflow is a company or a website that you go on, you fill out a form, and they take care of it all. They go to your doctor, they go to your insurance, they deal with all of it, and then they just tell you which pump you qualify for or which ones you would have to add. I think I had to pay like $50 extra for this one. So let's talk about when you would use which. So if you are kind of in that early stage and you're just trying to collect extra milk, the HAVES is the way to go. You may be only nursing on one side and you want to collect some of that letdown on the other side. This is great. I personally had a harder time the first time I was nursing. I just didn't have as much of a supply. So if you have not a huge supply, this might not be the way to go. But with my son, I actually had more, and this was awesome. I was able to get an ounce or two every single feeding. After a full day of using it, I was easily able to get, 4 or 5 ounces that I can put in the freezer. If you're thinking of starting a freezer stash, if you're trying to boost your supply, if you're pumping and the baby's getting a bottle or any of that, I think you're gonna probably want some kind of electric pump just to make sure you are able to actually pump the full amount. Honestly, I have traveled, flown, and pumped on a train with these, and you just kind of stick it in a bag and it's fine. So let's talk about all the items that you need. First, let's talk about the actual pump and the different pieces of it, and then all the stuff that I've added on to make it easier. So this is the pump, and there's a few buttons on it. Basically, there's the on button, so you turn it on, and there's some cycles. And with most pumps, there's kind of a 2-mode stage, right? The beginning mode where it sucks kind of quickly, and that's how the baby will start as well, until there's a letdown where your milk actually comes in, and then they slow down and they're more actually eating at that point. And so your pumps will do the same. The Spectra actually starts on whatever the last setting that you use. Basically what you would do is you would turn it on and then press the little squiggly line button, and that's kind of that faster mode in the beginning. You can also change how fast it is and how much of a suction there is. All of this you're gonna want to play with. You're gonna want to change as you get into it. So the more you kind of learn about your body, the better it is. It should never hurt. So if you're feeling like it's actually really pulling, take it down a notch, maybe a few, and it could change. Sometimes if you're really full, you're gonna need it much less, and sometimes if you're not as full, you're gonna need it much more. All right, so then there's the parts. So all of these type of electric pumps come with what they're called flanges. They all may have different pieces, but this is the main piece. And these come in different sizes. I would encourage you to actually bring at least the parts with you to the hospital, because when you talk to a lactation consultant, they can actually look and tell you, are you using the right size or not? Anything you get that's related to breastfeeding can be expensed to your HSA or FSA. My magical wet bags. But what I have learned is that you can actually, after you use your pump parts, keep them in the fridge for 12 hours and use them again as long as you stick them back in the fridge. So what I do is I have 2 wet bags that I put all my pump parts in. So I keep my pump parts in here, I close it up, and then I can stick this in the fridge and I can use it again. And then basically at the end of the day, at night, I will wash that set and then I have a whole new clean one. I like the wet bags because they're not a see-through, so if I'm at work or something and I need to stick it, I'm not as worried about sticking it in there. It's these are washable, so you can rewash these, so they're really friendly. They have a little strap. Anyway, love, love, love using the wet bag method. My recommendation, get 2 sets. So your pump will come with 1 set, get a second set. Trust me, if you're gonna be pumping even just once a day, you're gonna want a second set so you can replace it, so you can wash one, you can always have a clean one. If you are a working mom and you're gonna be pumping at work, huge. Have a set with the pump parts that you kind of take to the office, but then you have a set at home that maybe you need to pump in the morning or you're gonna need to pump when you get home. That way you already have a clean set and you're not coming home and rushing and washing the parts and feeding the baby and dealing with all that chaos all at the same time. So get 2 sets. Maybe get 3, I don't know. You're gonna want a pumping bra. This is by far my favorite and I found it on Amazon. Don't ask me the brand, I'll link it below, but it basically has a zipper down the middle. It has a little hole where you can stick the flanges, but basically you put this on and then you can pump hands-free. You're not holding them there because that is terrible. No one wants to do that. The reason I like this bra is it's adjustable on the back. So you can it has a Velcro, you can take it off and adjust to whatever you need. As you're in postpartum and changing, the bra will change with you and you don't need different sizes. Get a few, I would say, especially if you're gonna be pumping on a regular schedule. You're gonna wanna wash them, of course, with like soap. I like to sanitize them. If it's the first time, of course, sanitize. And then in the beginning, I actually sanitize them quite frequently. And then as the baby gets older, I kind of go maybe once a week, maybe every few weeks. But I found that the Medela Quick Clean sanitized bags are the way to go. Don't get any like tools and stuff, that just takes too long. These are little microwavable bags. Just put everything in. You put like a few ounces of water, close it up, stick it in the microwave for 2 to 3 minutes. Pour out the water and your stuff is all sanitized. This is also great because it's travel friendly. You can bring it to work, whatever you need. If I have a little bag with all my pump stuff, I will usually have one of these in there so I can always sanitize. I also keep a pack of these wipes from Medela as well. Now I don't really use these to clean my stuff, but I do keep these as emergency. Let's say you dropped it or something happened and you need to clean it, or you're traveling and you're gonna need multiple sets and you can't really wash it properly. Using this and then some water can actually clean it. So I do keep this in like my travel stuff. And speaking of which, you're probably gonna want a cooler. So this is again the Medela cooler. I really like it because it comes with a little freezer thing inside and it fits 4 of these little Medela bottles. In the Spectra, they actually come with the bottles and you can keep it. These are the same bottles from the Medela ones with the lid. I actually buy a whole pack of these. I think I have like 12 of them, and this is how I store my milk in the fridge. And then I also use these on the go. I just like, I don't know, I could probably use the Spectra ones, but I just had these. But get yourself a bunch of these little bottles and then you can store your milk in it. As you can see, it fits really nicely in here, and this cooler is nice and compact. Speaking of cleaning, do not wash these because you don't actually want to get water in here. Milk does not go in here. If you ever see anything build up in there, hook it up to your pump and let your pump run with it on without anything on the other side, and that usually clears it up. But you also want to keep an eye on your pump parts and replace them. Little valves especially are a thing to replace, so they should be closed shut. If there's any kind of gap or you see it, it's probably time to change it. if you're seeing that after a while you're starting to pump less and less for whatever reason that you used to, take a look at your parts. Maybe something's off and that's causing you to pump less. Let's talk about what do you do with this milk, or kind of how do you store it. There's all kinds of rules out there, but this is what my lactation consultants have shared with me. In room temperature, milk can sit for 4 to 6 hours. So let's say you're pumping and you know you're going to give that milk to your baby in the next hour or two. Just keep it out on the counter, you know, closed and sealed, and you can give that to your baby. If you think it's going to be a little bit longer, stick it in the fridge. In the fridge, it could be up to 6 days. And like I said, I usually store it in these Medela bottles. So whatever I pump, I will pour it into the Medela bottles. And you want to kind of store it in the back of your fridge in the coldest part. So let's talk about when to pump and the schedule. So if you are trying to boost your supply, you're undersupplying, you're just trying to boost it, what they typically say is you want to feed your baby first, and then you want to pump after your baby is fed for about 10 to 15 minutes. However amount you gather, collect all of that, keep it in the fridge, freeze it, whatever you may do. So that's kind of to boost your supply, and you can do that every single time. You can also power pump, but like don't go down that route because you don't want to over boost your supply and then have other issues down the line. If at any time someone is giving baby a bottle, you want to be pumping at that very same time so that you're telling your body, hey, my baby's eating now, even though you're not physically actually feeding your baby. I also really recommend using some apps to track your pumping. So I really like the baby tracker app. So anytime the baby does get a bottle, I'll note there, and I will also put in, if I am ever pumping, how much I pump. The nice thing is with this app, you can tell it when you start, when you stop, so you know how long you're pumping for. You can tell it how much you actually pumped, whether it's on one side or both sides, and it kind of keeps a running total. So at the end of your journey, you can brag about how many ounces you have pumped. But no, honestly, it's a nice way, especially if you're dealing with an undersupply, you're really worried. This was like my saving grace. I would see like, oh, I pumped 5 milliliters. Yes, milliliters, not ounces. And then a few days later, it was 15, and then it was 30, and then I was getting into the ounces, and I was so excited to see that number grow. So I really like that. Now, some days you might just be off. Like someday you usually pump 4 ounces before bed as extra, and then one day it's 2. Don't freak out. Some days are just off. But if you're seeing a trend, maybe that point you may want to talk to a consultant. But yeah, that is my kind of pumping tips, tricks, how I make this work. I hope this video gave you some information. As always, moms, you're doing a fantastic job. Keep up the great work. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. With that, I will see you at my next one. Bye.